Hi, I'm Michael, KB9VBR, and today I'm with Daryl Cash, K4DCP. He's the North Carolina State Coordinator for the popular 13 Colonies Special Event. The 13 Colonies Special Event runs that first week in July, celebrating Independence Day. And he's gonna talk to us a little bit today about 13 Colonies and what particularly North Carolina is going to be doing as part of the 13 Colonies event. So Daryl, welcome to the channel. Thanks a lot for joining me today.
Yeah, Michael, appreciate you setting this up. It's always fun to get out there in the ham radio world and have fun. That's for sure.
Well, I really appreciate it that you're able to take time out of your day so we could sit down for a little bit and talk about 13 Colonies, because 13 Colonies it's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite special events because unlike most special events, where it's kind of where you kind of get in one and done. This lasts an entire week, and it's got an objective that you need to that you really need to go after if you want to complete the whole event. So, Daryl, why don't you tell me a little bit about what 13 Colonies Special Event is? How long does it run, and what's the purpose and the goal in being a participant for this event?
Yeah, Michael, the 13 Colonies, it started back in 2009 by a gentleman named Ken, Kilo Uniform 2 Uniform Sierra. He started the special event, and he didn't know how well it was going to take off and everything, but he was very surprised. After a few years, the special event, it kicked off majorly throughout the 13 colonies. He had started out with basically one operator per state. And then that as time went on, that turned into multiple operators, anywhere from 10 operators to, 20 operators per colony, to keep up with the crowd. And like I said, it's a great event. It starts July 1st at 1300 UTC and runs until July 8th at 0400 UTC, which is, I'd say, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to July 7th at 12 midnight. The goal really of it is try to make a QSO with all the 13 colonies. You want to, you challenge yourself because there's different colonies, they're in different locations all throughout. And, for an example, there's 13 different colonies, but there's also inside of those colonies, there's multiple operators. And we'll talk about that probably in a little bit, but there's multiple operators in each colony. And there's also 3 bonus stations, that go along with this. You're trying to achieve a QSO with each colony, and also trying to make contact with the 3 bonus stations, which is one of them is GB13 COL, and that's in Great Britain. And then you got Whiskey Mike 3 Papa Echo November, which is out in Philadelphia. And then France, Tango Mike 13 COL. Those are the 3 bonus stations. You don't have to get a clean sweep with all the colonies and all the bonus stations, because it is sometimes to get across the pond to get some of the bonus stations. So if you give it your best effort and you submit for your certificate, you will actually get one. You'll get a certificate. It's not a hardcore thing. We want it to be fun and people to get on the air and remember why we're actually out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I'm glad you brought up the clean sweep aspect of it, because I know a lot of people, when they participate, they're always talking about clean sweep, and basically what that means is to receive a clean sweep in 13 colonies is you get those individual 13 colonies, or as part of the revolution, and the bonus stations don't need to necessarily count towards that sweep. To get a certificate, all you need to do is contact as little as 1 station. You can still get your certificate.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
13 colonies is a really big event. I mean, 13 states, although the bonus stations, the certificates, these individual cards that have to be mailed out, all of the stations and all of the different modes. So how many, I don't think a lot of people appreciate that scope or size. Any idea how many volunteers does it take to pull something like this off?
Yeah, I can give you when I say a rough number. I've been involved with some of the state Zoom meetings, the 13 colonies. We have Zoom meetings. We start about 3 months. We started about 3 months ago. Start the planning, estimating around, including the bonus stations and all the colonies, is between 300. I'd say 350 to 400, maybe 500 people all total. Yeah, it's and some colonies only have 5 or 6 people, that's operating. On the air and different things, like say, sideband CW, FT8, 2 meters. We even do 2 meter sideband, 2 meter and 440. We operate satellite. Just about if it's ham radio, we operate it.
It always seems like K2J is one of the first stations I'm gonna get, and I usually chalked it up to, living in Wisconsin, North Carolina is an easy 20-meter hop for me. But when you think about it, there's always somebody on the air at some given point in time. Yeah, it just makes sense that you're the one that's going to be logged soonest. And some of those other stations, I know you hear people complaining about, I can't get such and such a state, I can't get, or such colony, I can't get such and such. They're never on the air. Well, it's they're just they may never be on the air, according to your schedule.
Yeah, and that's something that I'd like to say too. Michael, is the different platforms out there. You'll see, Facebook and different platforms like, this state is never on. Well, just hang tight. They may be one of the colonies that's only got one sideband operator or one CW operator, and and I'll say, if you live in that state, if you live in that colony, you live in that state, find out who the coordinator is and call and say, hey, I'd like to volunteer. They would probably love to have people to work it, but it's you got to bear with them. Just bear with them. They'll be on the air. They will do it. They always come through. So just watch DX Summit. I will say DX Summit is one of the spotting clusters that we use across with 13 colonies. Look out there on Facebook and look up and see if, for example, we've got a K2J Facebook. Put it up there. Say, hey, when you going to be on the air? Shoot them a message. They'll respond. It's not a secret. We'll spot it out there. We it's not like you going win $100,000 at the end of it.
Yeah, and it's DX Summit is great for that, and it's got some good filters too. So you can if you're getting down to the bitter end, you can exclude all of those other stations, so you're only looking for the colonies you need to see, and that works great. Ham Alert is another tool that put those call signs in Ham Alert so you know when they're on the air, because that's the key to the clean sweep. Let's talk. You mentioned POTA operators because in part of your volunteer group, and that's really I think that's, for K2J in particular, that is a big component. The Parks on the Air component is a large part of your activating this year. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and some of the parks that you're going to be activating from?
Yeah, I'm going to hit real quick. We've got, Michael, we have approximately 15 team members out of our 36 team members that are real big Parks on the Air. They go out and they do a lot of Parks on the Air. And some of the locations that we're going to hit this year for K2J, we're kind of going to do I'm going to say a unique layout. we're going to hit, there you go, the you'll see on our QSL card for this year, the red X's are sites of the different battles, battlefield locations. So a lot of those are parks on the air locations as well. We're going to have operators there. The map, we kind of done the map to bring it out so that people could say, hey, I need that or I need this. But Morse Creek Battlefield, a real big hit is the North Carolina Battleship down in Wilmington, North Carolina. We got there's a club down there. A lot of their guys are K2J operators, so they're going to be helping us out down at the Battleship. And we'll be out at Ballhead Island, which is US 3849. And I meant to tell you too, the Battleship of North Carolina is Uncle Sam 6831. And also US 6843, Brunswick Fort Anderson, and we'll be out battlefield at US 11375 is Avisburg Battlefield. And another big one, kind of I say down in getting down toward the eastern part of North Carolina, will be US 6833. That's the Bentonville Battlefield. And that's just kind of hitting the highlights of a few of them. We're going to have more operators out there, even though it may not be a parks on the air, but they may be at the actual battlefield location. So if you'd like to be able to circle that on your QSL card when you get it in, that you hit that location. So we're trying to jazz up a little bit and recognize not just one battle location throughout North Carolina, but to recognize all the different battlefields and battle locations for the special event.
That is awesome. Yeah, this is that is quite an undertaking, and to see, I think, to see, the battles kind of laid out like that on the card really kind of gives you perspective on what was going on during the Revolutionary time. So that's I love it. When we especially when we're doing parks and POTA, is to bring that context together. So that now I'm looking forward to hitting K2J multiple times to get those particular those battle sites via parks on the air.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were hoping for in the background of things. I mean, don't just work, if you want to work K2J, any of the 13 colonies, you can work them on multiple bands, work them on different modes. That's fine. Duplicates do not matter. If you just, if you talk to a K2J and you say, well, I really wanted to talk to, I wanted to get this part. Well, that's fine. You're going to get credit for parks on the air. You're going to get credit for K2J. If you work, the same station 10 times, it's okay, because that station's liable to be at different locations. So it's totally fine.
13 Colonies is a really big event. With its popularity, also, I think creates frustration for many in breaking through the pileups. And you talk about contesting and contest pileups and whatnot. So, as a station operator, as a K2J operator, can you tell me what would be some tips for somebody approaching this event, wanting to get through that pileup and wanting to be heard?
I will tell you, just be patient. When an operator sits down, he is willing to sit down and operate until he can work the entire pileup. And I will give hats off to our operators for K2J. Most of them are very experienced. We do have a few brand new hams that's going to help us this year, but everybody's got to start somewhere. Oh, yeah. So some of our, I call it professionals, that are really good. It doesn't matter if you're the other station out there and you're running what we always call North Carolina legal limit, 1,500 watts or more, which you're not supposed to, but 1,500 watts. Some of our operators will intentionally listen for the little small 100 watts in the wire, down in the noise, down low. we try to give everybody a chance. In other words, just because you're a big gun station doesn't mean that our operators are going to call you because you're just taking over the entire band. We want everybody to be able to get into us, and don't get frustrated. Just bear with us. We're going to work everybody. None of our operators are just going to get up and leave and walk away from a pile up because dinner time is ready. They'll give you fair warning. I'm going to take 5 or 6 more calls, and we try to work everybody in there. I will say a lot of times we will hand it off. Example, if I've got a huge pile up and I need to go, we'll send a message out to our group. I've got a pile up on 20 meters, 14-230. Who would like to take it? And we just kind of hand it off like that and just kind of keep it going. So
Awesome.
that's kind of how we do it.
Yeah, a couple of tricks I've really find that work well to break the pile up is you got to listen to how the station is operating and how they're picking. If you can kind of figure out how they're picking others out of the mess, you can kind of exploit that. And because you're there, if they're working around the edges, maybe you got to get in, maybe you got to get your call in early, get your call in a little late. If you're a veteran and they take a pause for veterans, that's great. Use that. If they say, well, we're going to take QRP stations, I've been known to crank my station down to 5 watts and get in that way. So it's or if I'm working multiple colonies, on my transceiver, I'll just mark that frequency and then come back 5 minutes later. Sometimes just the whole dynamic is shifted, and if you're not, if you try 4 or 5 times, can't come in, give it a break, come back a few minutes later. It might be a totally different dynamic.
In 2024, K2J did over 30,000 contacts in 7 days. Wow. For the entire 13 colonies in 2024 was 292,426 contacts for the entire 13 colonies. So for 7 days, that's a lot of contacts. That's a lot of on the air time.
So you can find the 13, if you want to learn more about the 13 Colonies Special Event, you can find it at 13colonies.us is the website, and all of the information you need to know is there.
While you're right there on the certificate, this will be for this year. This year's certificate is honoring Ken. If you'll see right down at the bottom, if you can scroll up a little bit there, you'll see this year Kilo Uniform 2, Uniform Sierra. This year the certificate is in honoring him because of all of his hard work that he's done. So that'll be for this year and this year only. So awesome. If you've done if you've done the 13 colonies in previous years, this is the year to get it, because that was the young man there that started this program, and it's been very successful. And I will say on the behalf of K2J, and we'd like to thank Ken for everything that he's done for the 13 colonies.
And for years, Ken has famously checked every log and filled out every certificate, which is just over and above of what you would expect for anybody, for an event of this magnitude. So that is, that is great.
Yes, it is. I don't know how he did it, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a lot of QSOs, a whole lot of QSOs.
All right. Well, so Daryl, is there anything else you want to kind of add to this interview, or anything to leave anybody with before we kind of close things up?
Yeah, I would. I want to say, on the behalf of K2J, we want to thank first of all the people out there that are hunting the different colonies and stuff, and actually making this event possible. And I'd like, I've got to throw in my sponsors, because there's only 2 of them. Franklin County Amateur Radio Club, located in Franklin County, North Carolina, which was used to be my hometown. They're a sponsor. And Forsyth Amateur Radio Club here, based out of Winston-Salem, which is my club now since I have moved to Mount Airy, North Carolina. Those two clubs basically sponsor. They help out with the postage, the mailing. It takes money to get all this out. So those two clubs have chipped in, not only chipped in with helping purchase the QSL cards, stamps, envelopes. Also, they have a lot of members too. Both of those clubs have members that's involved with K2J. So I really got to say thank you to them. And Michael, thank you for having us out here and getting the word out as well.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Like I said, this is a great event. It's one of my favorite midsummer kind of things to do. Anybody can participate. You could get one station, you can get all stations, you can get the bonuses, the whole 9 yards, and it doesn't really matter. But because like Daryl said, it's just a fun time to celebrate our American independence, and it's a beautiful certificate. It's a fun program, and everybody just has a blast. So, Daryl, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Hey, if you got questions or comments about this video, leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about the 13 Colonies Special Event. Leave those down below. But thanks for watching today. I'm Michael, KB9VBR with Daryl, K4DCP. You have a great day in 7-3.